Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. And a lot of weird shit. Roll to seize!
Welcome to Roll to Seize. This is episode 9. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host and Warhammer enthusiast, Andrew Dickinger.
Hello, everyone.
Andrew, there have been some exciting news as of lately.
Yeah, some crazy stuff, like, the Harlequins. We thought the Harlequins was just the only big reveal.
But really, it was the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, apparently they're going a fully new direction, and a lot of what were, I guess, like, around, like, fan dexes are just, like, really popular lists, like...
Fluff lists, really.
Fluff lists. I mean, Harlequins was basically a printout fan dex when it existed.
Yeah,
and now
love that fan dex.
And now it's a real thing. And now we just heard it's confirmed Skitarii, the Adeptus Mechanicus, that is going to be an army. And it's just like... And
when you start making Adeptus Scartanicus? Scapanicus? Scapanicus.
Yes.
When you start making Adeptus Scapanicus, really the door just opens up for anybody.
I thought it opened up originally just with Harlequins, because, I mean, you look at that codex, it's literally just it's a small faction codex. There's no HQs even in the codex. Like,
no, it's just like these guys in a troop master.
What, 5 units?
It was just a thing. It was just part of a normal entry in an army.
Exactly. So then, like, I wonder if they're going a shift, almost like what they've announced with Warhammer Fantasy, of going to more small faction-based armies.
Yeah.
And
it's exciting.
I mean, that's crazy. I mean, that could mean my dream come true, and Kroot would be its own army.
Yes, Kroot's Space Chicken army would be amazing.
I would cry. It would be so beautiful.
You would weep tears of chicken joy.
Chicken joy.
If you weep tears of chicken joy, is it chicken noodle soup? Is that what it is?
It's delicious.
I mean, I'm sure it's delicious.
The tears they sustain.
Get a nice broth. So when you're gonna cry, just let me know, and I'll get a nice broth for those rainy days.
That's really freaking weird.
It is really weird. What are you drinking? Jay, what is that soup you've got there? Oh, just Andrew's tears.
Chicken tears.
Just chicken tears. Where'd you get chicken? Oh, Andrew, he loves those Kroot. Anyways, and that's all I say. Just walk away at that point. Just like, I gotta leave this job.
I think he's a serial killer.
I think he's a murderer. All right, guys. So, like we do each episode, we kick things off with our Seizes of the Month.
Indeed.
Andrew, what is your Seize of the Month?
Well, I went first last time. It's your turn.
God, you got me. You riddlesmith. I can't get you. Well, I must be the first bearer of bad news, I guess, for this episode. My Seize of the Month is that Leadership 8 is terrible.
What are you talking about? Leadership 8 is great.
That's like the thesis statement of my Seize of the Month. I played a recent game at the tournament this month, and in my game, I did this really cool plan where I'm playing with Eldar, and with
Eldar, really?
Yeah, surprise, right? Jay playing Eldar, probably for the last time too.
Sad face.
Harlequins just stabbed that. They became my favorite child. Well, they just did. So my Eldar are set up on the table, and I start the game with my Guardians out front because I'm using them like bubble wrap.
Oh, right, you had a blob of 20 of them.
Yeah, 20 Guardians, and my opponent had Grey Knights, and he was going to shunt up, and the Grey Knights had this new thing now where they can drop in first turn, almost like drop pods or Descent of Angels.
Oh, right, yeah, they have a formation, I think, that allows them to do that.
Which I had no idea. I used to play Grey Knights and Inquisitors and stuff, and I was actually, as much as I was like, oh no, that's not good, I was also, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, Paladins, I believe it was, Paladins were going to be dropping in first turn, flamers and guns that are mean, and also 2 shunting Dread Knights. He had first turn, so I was like, okay, I need to create some kind of human shield. You guys look like human shields, and they were like, what? And I was like, here we go, and shoved my Guardians right at the front. They were all nicely spaced out, so I kind of ruined his shunting plans, because how I, 2-inch coherency spaced them out nicely across, it quite literally kind of I believe it pushed him back at least 8 inches.
I mean, 20 guys spread out 2 inches, and I believe that first match was also hammer and anvil, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was quite a long distance, so
Yeah.
I really inhibited from him getting to my backfield guys, which had some warp spiders, had some war walkers, had some cool stuff on the table, so I definitely didn't want that dying right away. So I put them up front, ready to go. Guys shunt up, of course they do. Paladins drop in, and through a series of mishaps and some good saves on my part, I only lost like 5 guardians in the opening of this first turn.
That's really not many.
So only 5 died. I go, oh yeah, I gotta roll leadership, of course. And I roll, and I fail leadership with leadership 8, because it's leadership 8. So they run, and I'm like, okay, it's fine, as long as I still got them the next turn, because I want to have them come up and block, so I can keep those nasty other things that are coming in next turn. Sure enough, I go to regroup. Next turn, I roll in, I fail again, and they continue running. They come back for one more turn to snapfire and do nothing, and then run off the board again the following end of that last turn, and they're just off the board. They're gone.
So
Dead.
you failed 3 straight?
Failed.
I mean, even the average roll for you dice throwers out there, if you don't know, 2d6, the average roll is a 7.
Yeah.
So, like, you have a high probability of
I have
regrouping.
a pretty good probability. So out of the 4 leadership rolls I made that game, first one to fail, second one to regroup with failed, the third one passed, and then the next one failed and they ran off the board. It was just god-awful. And look, they are 20 Guardians, but 20 Guardians at close range with shuriken weapons, with Blade Storm, is pretty deadly.
Yeah.
It's really good. I mean, it's still strength 4, and on 6s it's AP 2.
Oh, and they're ballistic skill 4 now, so,
Yeah.
I mean, they hit a lot more
You
accurately.
have a lot of redundancy, too. And when you're trying to blow through, 2-up saves on Paladins, it's what you want. And I was
Yes.
like, perfect, yes, send them all right there, within 12 inches, assault 2 weapons, let's do this. It just didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have mass AP2, like, the only way to get through Terminator armor is to just force saves. Just
Yeah.
make them roll 1s, and that's a lot of bodies to lose.
It is a lot of bodies to lose, and a lot of defense. They were bubble wrap, they were deterrence, they were doing a lot of good stuff for me, and just through the sheer terror of giant robots and space priests, they turned their tail and ran.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, so that was my Seeds of the Month, guys. Leadership 8 sucks. Andrew, what is your Seeds of the Month?
All right, so I did something in the last tournament. I was playing Tau.
Mm-hmm.
My 2 armies are Tau and Nids, and I just had to give Nids a break since, I keep failing with one of my most important units that
The Hive Tyrant.
I won't mention names.
It's been a tale as old as time on this podcast.
But so I decided to, break it up, and I have a really oddball Tau list.
I love it.
It's the Discs of Doom.
Yes, they're all drones.
It's all drones. I mean, as much like...
They're not all drones. They're converted to look like drones.
Yeah, so like I have Fire Warriors that converted to look like drones. My Crisis Suits look like drones. My command, everything looks like drones. But the thing that's actually drones is I have 27 sniper drones,
Which is a lot of sniper drones.
It's silly, and a lot of people don't realize that if you stick a Farseer in with them, then give them Storm of Fire at 24-inch rapid fire, because they're 48-inch range, you're firing 3 shots apiece, sniper rifles with ballistic skill 5.
Yeah, that hurts.
It's a lot of shots. It's 27 shots per squad if they're not, like, inhibited. Like, if they haven't lost guys. Like, that's 27 shots. It's a lot of shots. I also ran something that I had never run before in a tournament setting, which is the Farsight Bomb.
Old Farsight. I love Farsight. The mythos behind him, everything is really cool. He's got the big sword.
Yeah, I think, the Dawn Blade.
The Dawn Blade.
Yeah, and which may or may not be a Necron weapon. I don't know.
Theorize, everyone.
But I really like Farsight. I've always had a problem with this cost in his rules because he's not that great. He's like a little expensive for what he does. The real reason that people take Farsight is because it allows you to do the bomb, which is he can have up to 7 bodyguards with him as opposed to the normal 3, which allows you to just stick like a shit ton of weapons in one unit, and the twin linking ignores cover, tank hunter, monster
Split
hunter
fire,
deal.
shoot, just
Split
do
fire all
whatever
over the
you
place.
want to do.
And Farsight gives his warlord trait specifically is that he gives himself and the unit he's with no scatter deep strike.
Which is such a cool ability.
I mean, it's just like,
You go there.
yeah, they're there, but don't they? No, they don't scatter. They're there. That's probably the second most popular build of Tau is Farsight. It's still
I
competitive.
didn't know that.
So I had never run it before in a tournament, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I run sniper drones. I'm going to run Farsight Bomb just for fun. And I ran the bomb, and I was against... This was in my second match of the tournament. I was against a really kind of cheesy Necron list.
Oh.
The Necron list that had a Void Shield, which I'd never actually played against.
I've never seen one before, actually. I'd seen them in books, but nothing else.
Yeah, void shields are really annoying. If you don't know what they are, they project a 12-inch, essentially, AV-12 bubble of, like, just 3 hull points in
Just
AV-12.
everywhere.
But it's not a vehicle, so you can't, like, haywire it, and it's not a building, so you can't get, like, Tank Hunter or, like, a double out with Melta or anything. It's just an AV-12 wall.
So
silly stuff. But he also had 3 Death Ray pylons.
Death Ray pylons are mean.
Now, what pylons are, if you're not aware out there, is that they're these Forge World heavy support artillery pieces that Necrons have, and the way they function through at least the Frontline Gaming FAQ is that you essentially just fire from one of them and then multiply the amount of shots by the amount of total shots in the squad. Specifically with the Death Ray, you just pick a point and then roll to see how far the line goes. And then since he had 3 of them and they all have 2 Death Rays, it's like, well, the line hit 6 guys, multiply that by 6, that's 36 strength 10 AP 1 hits.
I mean, those are dead people. Those are.
Yeah, but then what's even worse is because it's an artillery unit, you can join a Veil of Darkness Cryptek to the unit and deep strike it around.
Fun.
I should have had no real problem with this, only because even though they're T7 and apparently 3 wounds, I had, like, ass loads of sniper rifles, so I mean, like, I don't really care about that. But the big thing that could just delete that unit was the bomb, and he was waiting for my bomb to come in so then he could deep strike and just wipe them all out.
Right.
First turn rolls around, okay, nothing happens on either side. Second turn rolls around, Farsight does not come in. Third turn rolls around, Farsight does not come in.
Oh no.
Fourth turn rolls around, and I should be clear about this, I didn't take his warlord trait this game.
This is the very important part of the story. Somebody at the beginning of the game goes, now what was that warlord trait that everyone takes because it's Farsight?
So listen, I have reasons.
I'm sure they were very good at the time.
I was very convincing to myself. I was really, really desperately trying to get the strategic trait, so then I could blitz his void shield and his spider that gave, that formation, like Feel No Pain and stuff like that, and just like really hit his shit early so that his defense, my sniper rifles can just go ape shit and just shoot everything. Because the sniper, that's the shitty thing, is that if anything is within that 12-inch bubble of his void shield, my sniper rifles can't hurt them.
Yeah.
Because it can't get past AB-12, and the way it works is that when you shoot something that's protected by a void shield, you roll against the shield first, and then once you're past the shield, whatever hits you have left then goes to the unit.
Yeah.
So then, like, 27 sniper drones are basically sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I had this idea in my brain that I could kill the void shield really quickly. What I didn't know is that you don't have to shoot the generator itself. You can just shoot at a unit protected by it, and that'll take down the void shields. So what I should have done is should have just started Farsight and his crew on the board, but instead I chose to re-roll his warlord trait, and I didn't get the infiltrate one.
What did you end up with?
I think I ended up with it's guaranteed first turn night fight. Super useful.
So useful.
Especially since nothing happened.
What a reward. But that's okay, right? Because Farsight totally came in right where you needed him, right?
Yeah, let's say that. And on to the rest of the show. No, so the third turn, roll a 1, or second turn, roll a 1, doesn't come in. Third turn, roll a 1, doesn't come in. Fourth turn, he comes in automatically via the rules, because he's ongoing reserves at that point. I deep strike him. I put him a good 9 inches away from his now right in front of me Death Ray super bomb.
And that's a pretty safe distance for deep striking.
9 inches, even with, because I didn't run any drones with him either. Like, it was just him and the 7 guys.
Right.
And so, 9 inches, even with those bases, that gives you like a good 7 inches leniency. And what did I do? Of course, he does roll a scatter, and he rolls 11 inches straight onto the freaking death bomb that they're trying to kill.
Oh, sad.
So luckily I didn't roll a 1 for their mishap and to just have them die, because that would
just flip the table.
That would have just I would have just quit right there. I'd have been like, well, there's no point to continue.
Yeah.
But yeah, they went into ongoing reserve. So the bottom line is, because I gambled on the warlord trait, didn't get even something remotely useful, instead of just taking the one that I know I have and guaranteed have and then can work around. Took a risk and I paid for it. and it cost me the win.
Yeah.
So
Farsight bomb is the Farsight bomb for a reason.
It is.
Has,
Listen,
accurate deep strike.
Don't you tell me how to run my life.
What? All right, guys. Well, that was our Seasons of the Month, and that'll be taking us into our next segment, the Brown Library. Oh my god, guys, we just got Gaskell Thraka's autograph.
Oh, man.
He's hanging out here in the Brown Library.
What the hell is he doing?
Yeah, what is he doing in here?
I mean, you know he's like the prophet of the Wog and stuff, but how did he even get into the webway?
Yeah, I feel like you have to be allowed in here, right? By the Harlequins or like the Eldar or somebody's got to let you in here.
And I know what happened. He
What
walked
happened?
up to the solitaires. He was like, they're like, yo, no entry. And he's like, dude, Gaskell. And they're like, all right.
All right. How did he know the secret password? We shouldn't have told that to everyone.
Oh, God.
Whoops. Anyways,
Oh, well.
Here we are in the Brown Library, and what kind of weird things have we found this episode?
Well, there may have been a reason that Gaskell was in the library.
Really?
himself.
Ah.
So what we'll be talking about today is the killer trash cans known as the Killa Kans.
Oscar the Grouch one day realized that he was no longer going to take it anymore and developed these monstrosities.
Yep, he was just like, went on a rampage and just started killing everyone.
That makes sense. We all expected it to happen, for being honest.
He's a grouch. Why wouldn't he do it?
Yeah. I mean, Grouch is like one step away from Psychotic Can Murder Maker, right? Psychotic Can Murder Maker? Everybody say that.
Can murder maker.
Everybody say that 5 times fast. Psychotic Can Murder Maker. Psychotic Can Murder Maker. It kind of rolls off the tongue in like a fun way.
Well, I like it. It's like almost a double alliteration where you have psychotic can.
Yeah, Psychotic Can Murder Maker.
Murder maker.
Murder Maker. My name is Mr. Psychotic Can Murder Maker. Anyways. Oh, God.
Tangents.
Yeah, tangents indeed. Finding our way back.
All right, so we're going to be talking about Killa Kans. What you may not know is that in the Orc universe, or just Orc faction, I mean, even Space Marines, like, they have their own things. So, you know, when people die, I just did air quotes.
You did.
When people die, more air quotes.
Ooh, those had sparks this time.
They occasionally, like on, or I guess on the verge of death, get put into,
quickly, put him in a machine.
Yeah, in the Imperium, they jam you into basically a mobile coffin.
I don't know why, I just got this really sad scene. It's like an old man, like, remember, take care of your grandmother. And I'm what are you doing? Just like some dude just, sorry, we gotta do this as part of our normal thing. And they just shove him in a machine and stick him with hoses. It's like, your grandfather's a murder machine now.
Wow, that's awful.
It is awful. Glad I shared that with everyone. Go on with your wonderful story.
So yeah, the Imperium, Space Marine specifically does that. Like, they'll take their really old and fallen soldiers and place them in a dreadnought.
You had an honorable death. Too bad it's not over.
Yeah, because it's like a sarcophagus. They can't ever leave it. It keeps them alive. It's a life support system, but it allows them to continue the fight.
Yeah, and they get free Netflix and Hulu, so that's nice.
Whereas in the Orc faction, they don't do that such thing because they don't care about lives. I mean, they just don't. Big Mechs, though, and occasionally Docs as well. They're
so Docs and Big Mechs
Yeah.
get this can treatment.
Well, they're all like Docs and Big Mechs are both like a faction of the Mechs
Okay.
cast. They just like do separate things, but it's sort of like they have to be able to do both because there's surgical stuff plus like mechanical stuff, so it's like a unison type of thing.
Sure.
But they'll make these things called Death Dreads, which Orcs volunteer to be put into or are forced into.
They say they volunteered. I just did air quotes. Oh my god, that's how you... Wow, those sparks are weird.
And you get that a little tingly after a while.
Is that contagious? I don't know what just happened. Anyways.
But yeah, so they have these Death Dreads, which are basically like their versions of Dreadnoughts, the Space Marine Dreadnoughts, that essentially are just like rampaging murder kill bots. But there's a little version that's because they have these little guys called Grots or Gretchen, which are like little goblins.
Yeah.
That they're jealous and they want to be put in
I want to be in a big
kill
can.
murder machines because they just get kicked around all the time.
Because I guess they have no information that it's terrible.
Oh yeah, I mean they just assume, I suddenly have power and I can actually like do stuff.
Right.
And that's actually a lot of times what happens, which a favored orderly for like a doc or a Big Mac will get like, okay, yeah, I'll make a Killa Kan body for you. And so they take them and they surgically implant them into these they look like trash cans with arms. And then, of course, what's the first thing the Grot does when it assuming it's successful and
Right.
they're still alive,
We weren't supposed to put the hose there. Oh, no.
I mean, that happens a lot. I mean, I think Gazkul has, like, a spider in his brain.
What?
Like, when they're replacing his brain pan with adamantium, a spider crawled in there.
Really?
Yeah.
That is weird.
But, Orks, man, all they need to do is
You know what
believe
the
it
secret
works.
is for all his strategic plannings? It's from that dead spider.
Spider.
We figured it out.
His web. His web of
strategery. And, like, he's the only one that gets that pun. He makes it all the time and winks at people, and they're like, we don't know what is that.
Maybe it talks to him. Maybe he imagines, like, a little floating spider all the time, and it just, like, that's his prophet.
So really the spider is the prophet.
Yes.
And, like, he is just the puppet for the said spider.
I mean, it suddenly makes all the sense.
It really does.
But yeah, so these little guys get put into these cans, and of course, what's their first intention is, hey, who brutalized me earlier in my life?
I'm gonna go beat up everybody.
And, well, if by beat up you mean murder, then yes. Because that's usually what happens.
There's no shades of gray in the grimdark. It's either murder or, I guess, slightly less murder.
I mean,
don't
especially in Orks, where it's just like, they breed by budding. They're
Right.
fungus. I
True.
mean, they don't care about each other.
So is it more like lawn maintenance when you kill a bunch of those things, really, at the end of the day?
It's like lawn maintenance with like a flamethrower.
Yeah.
I guess is the way you get rid of that weed. Because
Yeah.
they're like weeds.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, so they get stuck in these cans and they go and murder all the people that were mean to them, and then essentially they just get deactivated. Like their brain just gets shut off.
Ooh, this was a bad idea.
They just get shut off until it's like battle time, and then they suddenly just
then they just turn 'em on right then?
Wake them all up and say, "Go have fun!"
Nice.
And they rip into the rah!
That is the sound they make.
That's
every
the
time.
sound they make. They roar like assuming the enemy will actually hear them and be afraid of the giant trash can that's like waddling towards them, because they don't walk, they waddle.
I feel like how they get close is not out of terror, people freezing. It's more of like confusion. Like two Space Marines are like, that's a giant trash can. Is it moving? That's actually, oh my god! And then just stabbing them,
Just utter confusion. I have no idea what I'm looking at right now.
or just sheer laughter. They're just laughing until it gets closer.
They're like, "Oh, it's serious. Oh god, that thing's 10 feet tall."
That looks smaller a distance away.
So these the Grots get to make their heyday and actually rip into some things.
Good
and
for
they got
them.
like claws and like weapons and guns and shit, and they fire at people.
Good for you, grotty people.
So the list I came up with had
Now
to be
this list came from some voting that occurred. Correct?
Oh, of course, on our forums, it was a fast one. Like it just automatically orc shot to the top. I was like, oh, I really wanted to be Flash Gits, which we'll get into hopefully in another episode. But then, like, immediately it was like Killa Kans, and I was like, yeah, I guess in the new codex I've never seen.
That's
anybody play
true,
Killa
because you
Kans.
used to see them before, but I really haven't run into any.
Yeah, people used to do the what they call the con wall strategy, where you just had like a wall of Killa Kans, like as many as you could take, and then just a big mech behind them to give them all invul saves, and then just rush them at the enemy.
Right.
So you don't really see that anymore, and I think it's probably because of two things, actually. Take that back, three things. One, they went up in cost a little bit. They're a little more expensive than they used to be. Two, they lost their strength 10 close combat weapon.
Whoa. Yeah, that's a rough thing.
I believe it's called a con claw now. It's not just like a dreadnought close combat weapon. I think it's, I could be wrong with this, I think it's a strength 8 weapon instead, or maybe a strength 7 weapon, which is
Ooh,
like,
strength 7 is...
if it's strength 7, it's
that's
just
sad.
like, it's no longer good. It's no
And
longer...
it doesn't even double out just standard Space Marines.
No, and it's like, and I mean, they only have like 3 attacks apiece, and their weapon skill like 2 or 3. So I mean, they're not great.
Ugh.
And it also makes it harder for them to fight in close combat or fight against vehicles, because they just don't like auto pen rear AB10 and stuff like that.
Right.
Which they used to do. I mean, if Khan got in the old days, if Khan got up to a regular vehicle that's not a walker, I mean, you can kiss that vehicle's ass goodbye.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I can understand that. I can understand the cost, and they also got a new rule. They're a vehicle squadron, so you can have more than one in
Interesting.
in the group. They're not individuals, but they almost have a morale characteristic.
Really?
Yeah, so they have essentially like it's like a grots are scared rule. If you lose 25%...
They're having flashbacks to when they were little.
Yeah, exactly. That's essentially what it is exactly, is that they suddenly forget that they're in a giant killbot murder machine.
Yeah.
And think they're just regular grots again and want to run away. So if you lose 25% of them, then you essentially have to roll a d6. And if you roll below a 3... then they all are crew shaken.
Oh, no.
Luckily, it doesn't deal a whole point to them. They're only 2 whole points apiece. But it still makes it, one of the effectiveness of Killa Kans is that they have access to rockets, which are like crack missiles.
Right.
But they're one of the few sources of BS3 in the entire Orc army, so you can have a bunch of them and they actually hit fairly accurately.
Huh. That's surprising.
So if they get shaken, of course, that just makes them all snapshots.
Well, I
and
guess
just makes it
Grot's still
terrible.
carrying their better accuracy with them.
Yeah, exactly. When that first came out, like, a lot of people were painting it to just be like straight awful of a rule, but it's really not that bad because, I mean, they can still move, they can still run, it doesn't take a whole point away. And I mean,
they just can't fire their rockets.
They can snapshot, but it's like if they lose it for one turn, like, who cares? Like,
Right.
it's not a big deal. I thought they actually, like, when somebody first mentioned to me,
You thought it was just crew stunned.
I thought
like,
it was
to just sit
or
there.
just a straight leadership character where they could actually, like, fall back.
Yeah, that would be rough.
Which would be awful. But so that's like, meh, not so bad. And surprisingly, they have 11, 11, 10 armor, so they're not like...
Oh, that's better than I
They're
expected.
not just straight paper, so they can't be hurt by bolters in front and side.
That is nice. That is important.
That's a big deal, especially when you consider in our other podcasts, like talking about penitent engines and stuff like that, like things that are AV10, even bolters can hurt them, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
So the way I construct this army, obviously, it has to have as many Killa Kans as possible.
Oh, definitely.
So it's a double detachment, and we'll just focus on the heavy support first. It's 16 Killa Kans.
Let's see. It's got to have a lot. What's a good number? 16.
So if it
Jeez.
doesn't penitent engines weren't enough for you, this army has 16.
Now, if anyone's
Killa
adding up the
Kans.
cost of this army, it's already $1 million for 16 models of Killa Kans.
So I was like, what's a good unit size? And I mean, I was like, 5 is probably the best, but 5 is a bit expensive. I mean, that would be an additional 200.
So you were like 4, 4, and 4.
4, 4, 4, 4.
Oh, right. Four fours.
4 4. So there's 2 detachments, obviously, 2 squads of 4 Killa Kans. They all have rockets, just because it's just
course.
like you might as well shove as many ranged anti-tank in
Yeah,
the game as you
BS3
can.
with crack missiles. I mean, let's do it.
You'll glance something to death at least, and
Hell
I mean
yeah.
that still threatens power armor.
Yeah,
So
you'll kill
why
a lot
not?
of things with that.
why the hell not? As well, the last 2 slots in each heavy support unit are what's called a Morkanaut, which is essentially a giant can of doom.
Oh wait, those are the big ones. They look like they have giant skirts,
Yes.
and they're just moving across the ground.
They have flat. It's like the
They have like 1 billion guns, don't they?
Yeah, it's like the miniature version of a Stompo, which is the giant skirt one.
Yes.
This is like
Orcs are all about giant skirts.
yes.
Really.
So they have like it's kilts. I mean, they're Scottish, right?
That's true. You know what? They're all about metal kilts.
Yes. So then, like, this is like the stage down from a Stompa is a Morkanaut. I mean, and they're badass. Like, they're 13 front armor, I think 13 side armor, or at least 12 side armor.
They're durable.
5 hull points.
Oof.
Specifically, Morkanauts can get a custom force field, which gives them 5+ invul save. But specifically with them, the reason the custom force field is important is because it's on the Morkanaut and not the units inside, because Morkanauts have transport capacity.
Oh.
It projects outwards from it.
Oh.
So if you have Morkanaut surrounded by cons, all the cons get a 5+ invul as well.
That's pretty cool.
So it's just have these 2 like killer death blobs just walking across the
Dun-dun,
field of cans.
dun-dun,
Cans
dun-dun.
and skirts.
Cans and skirts. What do you see out there, General? Nothing but cans and skirts. Get the men ready!
God damn it.
God damn it.
But yeah, they have like a ton of guns. I mean, like the Morkanaut has.
Yeah, the Orcs just can't figure out when too many guns is too many.
I mean, there's no such thing, Jay.
How many? How many we got? 200? I mean, we could fit probably 50 more. If we, like, hang them off the side on, like, a rope. Yeah, that'll work. And for Orcs, it would work.
I mean, it would, because all they have to do is believe.
They probably don't even plug them in. They just hang them off of things. It's like ornaments on a thing, and it'll fire.
If I pull this string, right, that'll make the gun over there fire, even though they're not connected? Yes. All right.
Orcs are so powerful. They're like if you took the old back in the day when you'd have 2 cups and a string in the middle, you'd get like 3G. You'd get like LTE on those things. You'd be like, oh yeah, I've got like got Snood on here. Snood. Nobody plays Snood on cell phones. Why did I even say that? Anyways, Orcs technology is weird.
So that's like the core of the force, is that just you have these 2 Morkanauts, these giant skirt walking things.
Oh, yeah.
Just escorting all of these like little baby skirt guys,
Little baby cans.
little baby cans, these little Killa Kans. So they
It's
just
really
have,
cute when you think about it. It's like
It
a mother
is.
duck and a bunch of little ducklings.
It is. It's kind of ridiculous, and they're just gonna murder your face. It's ridiculous. I mean, 16 essentially mini dreadnoughts, and then 2 mega dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
So 18 total walkers, just like coming at your face.
That's awesome.
All with 5+ invul saves, all just angry and just coming at you.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what adds to the Morkanauts as well to give them survivability, because you need the Morkanauts to live so that they can protect the cons.
Yeah.
They, 5 hull points with 13 armor, it's really tough.
Yeah, that's tough to get through. I mean, I played with Necrons. 13 is tough.
It's a wall. It's hard to get through. And then, I mean, a 5+ invul save is like an old Jink essentially on them.
Basically.
Which isn't bad. They also have Grot Riggers, which gives them little grots inside of the big thing.
Oh, yeah.
Which then give them it will not die.
So it's like Team Grot, basically.
It's Team Grot. Oh, it's more grots.
Ooh.
You just wait.
it's going to keep going.
It's gonna keep going. So you have these little grots that then repair this giant machine. It gives it will not die, so it can get hull points back.
That's mean.
What's inside of them, they're the HQ choice, just because why not? It's silly, and I had the points. The HQ for both detachments is just 2 big mechs with their mega armor. So that's just 2 big mechs joined to each other in one Morkanaut.
Of course.
And then 2 big mechs joined to each other in the other Morkanaut. So then you have the big mechs, of course, which are the masters who made all the little machines that they then stuck the grots in. And then, of course, the troop choice is just 4 squads of Gretchen.
Of course.
Troops, because it has to be more grots.
Yeah, it's just like Revenge of the Grots, essentially.
And what's even crazier with regards to resilience is that the big mechs have what they call mechs tools, which during the shooting phase, instead of shooting, you can roll a die on a 5+, either the vehicle they're embarked in, or
so they can try to fix it.
the vehicle they're embarked in, or the vehicle that they're in base contact with. If you get a 5+, you can repair an armament destroyed, and immobilized, or restore a hull point.
Wow.
So it makes those things, and that's 2 rolls because there's 2 big mechs.
There's 2 of them
per thing.
inside. Jeez.
That makes 2 rolls per thing. It makes those things insanely hard to kill.
That's pretty annoying.
It's like you get the 5+ roll to see if you get hull points back, but then you have 2 other 5+ rolls to see if you get hull points back.
And you have invuls.
And you have an invul save. So it's like you better take away all of its hull points in one
turn.
Go, or it's just going to come back.
That's pretty great.
So that's the entire army. It's
Also, what
just
is this army called?
Well, here's where I was coming. I was like, what would make the most sense? And it's less sense of like what the army is composed of, and more just because of the name of the unit. I had to call it the Khan of Cons.
The Khan of Cons. I love it. Also, sub beneath that, cans and skirts.
Cans in skirts.
The Khan of Cons, Part 2, Cannon Skirts.
Requirement.
It's the sequel. It's just called Cannon Skirts. That's awesome. I love that list.
Oh, it's terrifying.
All right, guys. Well, that was our time here in the Brown Library. Now we're going to our Dakka of Dakkas, where we talk about the loudest or most fun comments we are finding out there in the Dakka Dakka forum. Andrew, what do we have for this episode?
So in relation to the Khan of Cons, there was a reader that essentially sent a message to me, a private message to me, that was like, I want you to really do cons. This is what the message says. I want you to really do cons, but cons was one of the few instances in the 40k universe where the fluff reflects the unit but should not have been included. And that's the con's ability to run away or get scared.
Oh.
They're like... and I understand what he's saying, it's like, yeah, it makes perfect fluff sense, but it's kind of just a nerf to a unit that was already just like, okay.
Yeah.
And it was just like, why did they also need this?
Why do they really need to be scared?
And it's like, I understand, maybe you just have it like, oh, they freak out, maybe it does something good for them, like, they just like...
Maybe on like a 1, they have a weapon skill of a 1 or something like that.
I mean,
I
like,
don't know.
it's something not affecting how they function, as opposed to like
on a roll of a 1 you feel sad for them.
Yes, that makes sense.
That's it. That's all it does. It has absolutely no game application. You just have to feel sad for them. If you don't, they explode.
And then like or maybe have like an inverse mechanic where like you could have like a power drunk where maybe if you roll a die, you roll a 1, they get like, for a turn, maybe you have that snapshot, but then have like an upside to it. Like if you roll a 6,
you have like rage. It's like, he was the one that picked on me.
Maybe they can run in charge, or they get like an extra 3 inches to their run.
See, that would be cool
something.
to have that. See, then that makes rolling that die really really fun.
Yeah,
Because you're like, oh, I got to do this. It's like, if I get a 6, this could be
Oh,
hilarious.
it's silly. And then they just suddenly just murder something.
Yeah, that would change a turn if they could run in charge with that.
Oh, man. It's suddenly like, oh, it's a good thing those things are, oh, God, they're on top of my face.
Do you hear that, GW? Run in charge for the Codex, whatever that'll be, 2 years, 3 years from now?
Oh, God, so far, because that Codex is 7th edition.
That is 7th edition. Well, guys, that was episode 9 of Roll to Seize. We'll be posting a new episode every month. Please leave us a review on iTunes. It helps people find the show. You can also download more episodes or check out other similar podcasts at partialark.com. That's arc with a C. Of course, you can email us any questions at rolltoseize@gmail.com or leave us some comments on the Dakka of Dakkas forum. The forum we're on is
called Underused Units in the General Discussion 40K forum.
excellent. And of course, please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at partialark. And your fun fact for this month is...
Ironically enough, in the 40K universe, it's a fantasy universe where skirts are legitimate protection.
That's true, I guess they are.
Think about that in every other fantasy sense. If people are like, skirt's not a real armor, well, say that to orcs. Because it works.
Orcs, the skirts in orcs work. Jim, if you're gonna go out on that battlefield, just promise me you'll bring your skirt.